closely on the Boscombe Valley mystery ASMR reading.
Continuing from action to the fact delay, at last flung in across the room and gave myself up entirely to the consideration of the events of the day.
Hello guys, and welcome to the second part of the Boscombe Valley mystery. A short story, novel, or whatever you want to call it, by or with Sherlock Holmes as the main character, and of course Watson. So, I want to do a quick apologize for me not making any ASMR videos for the past 5 days or so. I think this is the 5th day, and I just gotta hand it to you and say that I've been tired. So, I'm not sure why. It's not like I've done a whole lot more than usual actually, but just been tired. I don't know why, but the reading here is, I guess it's because the text is very slow, or the text isn't slow, but so it's a good story, no doubt, but it's just a little slow, and that makes it a little, to me, I guess, not that I don't enjoy it, I do, but I did make it a little larger, the text, of the same reason, so I hope you won't be too disappointed in that. That also means that I will stop a little more often since I have made the text a little bigger and everything, so that I don't mispronounce all that much. Or well, hopefully I don't. Of course I can't really promise anything, but I'll give it my best shot. Alright. Let's begin. I rang the bell and called for the weekly county paper, which contained a verbatim account of the inquest. In the surgeon's deposition, it was stated that the posterior third of the left parietal bone and the left half of the occipital bone had been shattered by a heavy blow from a blunt weapon. I marked the spot upon my own head clearly. Such a blow must have been struck from behind. That was to some extent in favor of the accused, as when seen quarreling, he was face to face with his father. Still, I did not go for the very much, for the older man might have been turned his back before the blow fell. lose hope as long as every fresh fact seemed to strengthen his conviction of young McCaffrey's insistence. It was late before Sherlock Holmes returned. He came back alone, for Lestrade was staying in luncheons in the town. The glass still keeps very high, he remarked as he sat down. It is of importance that it should not rain before we are able to go over the ground. On the other hand, a man should be at his very best and neatest for such nice work as that, and I did not wish to do it when fact by a long journey. I have seen young McCarthy. And what did you learn from him? Nothing. Could you throw the light? Not at all. I was inclined to think at one time that he knew who had done it and was screening him or her, but I'm convinced that now he is puzzled as everyone else. He is not a very quick-witted youth, though calmly to look at, and I should think, and sound at heart. I cannot admire his tastes. I remarked, if it is indeed a fact that he was averse to a marriage with so charming a young lady as this Miss Turner, and thereby hangs a rather painful tale. This fellow is madly, insanely in love with her, but some 2 years ago, when he was only a lad, before he really knew her, for she had been away 5 years at a boarding school. What does the idiot do but get into the clothes of a barmaid in Bristol and marry her at the registry office? No one knows a word of the matter, but you can imagine how maddening it must be to him, to upbraided for not doing what he would give his very eyes to do, but what he knows to be absolutely impossible. It was sheer frenzy of the sort which made him throw his hands up into the air with his father at their last interview, was goading him on the propose to Miss Turner. On the other hand, he had no means of supporting himself, and his father, who was by all accounts a very hard man, would have thrown him over utterly had he not known the truth. It was with his barmaid wife that he had spent the last 3 days in Bristol, and his father did not know where he was. Mark that point. It is how it is of importance. Good has come out of evil, however, for the barmaid finding from the papers that he is in serious trouble and likely to be hanged, has thrown him over utterly, and has written to him to say that she has a husband already in the Bermuda dockyard, so that there is really no tie between them. I think that bit of the news has consoled young McCarthy for all that he suffered, but if he is innocent, who has done it? Who? I would call your attention very particularly son, but his son was away, and he did not know when he would return. The second is that the murdered man was heard to cry Kelly before he knew that his son had returned. Those are the crucial points upon which the case depends. And now let us talk about George Meredith, if you please, and we shall leave all minor matters until tomorrow. There was no rain, as Holmes had foretold. In the morning, bright and cloudless. At 9 o'clock, Lestrade called for us with the carriage, and we set off for Hatherley Farm and the Boscombe Valley. There is serious news this morning, Lestrade observed. It is said that Mr. Turner of the Wall is so ill that his wife's life is despaired of. An elderly man, I presume, said Holmes, about 60, but his constitution has been shattered by his life abroad, and he has been failing health for some time. This business had a very bad effect upon him. He was an old friend of McCarthy's. And I may add, a great benefactor to him, for I have learned that he gave him Hatherley Farm rent-free. Indeed, that is interesting, said Holmes. Oh yes, in 100 other ways he has helped him. Everybody here speaks of the kindness to him. Really, does it not strike you as a little singular that this McCarthy, who appears to have a little of his own, to have been under such obligations to Turner, used to talk of marrying his son to Turner's daughter, who is presumably heiress to the estate, and that in such very cocksure manner, as if it were merely a case of a proposal, and all else would follow. It is the more strange, since we now know that Turner himself was averse to the idea that daughter told us as much. Do you not deduce something from that? We have got to deductions and inferences, said Lestrade, winking at me. I find it hard enough to take all facts, Holmes, without flying away of theories and fancies. You are right, said Holmes demurely. You do find it very hard to tackle the facts. Anyhow, I have grasped one fact which you seem to find such a scant as this. Men who had only known the great finger and logician of Baker Street would have failed to recognize him. His face flushed and darkened, his brows were drawn into the hard black lines, while his eyes shone out from beneath them with a steely glitter. His face was bent downward, his shoulder bowed, his lips compressed, and the veins shot out like a whipcord in his long, sinewy neck. His nostrils seemed to be dilated with a purely animal lust for the chase, and his mind was so absolutely concentrated upon the matter before him that the question or remark fell unheeded upon his ears, or at the most only provoked a quick, impatient snarl. In reply, swiftly and silently, he made his way along the track which ran through the meadows, and so by of the words which due to the Boscombe Valley. It was damp, marshy ground, and it is all the districts, and there were marks of many feet both upon the patch and amid the short grass which bounded it on either side. Sometimes Holmes would hurry on, sometimes stop dead, and once he made quite a little detour into the meadow. Lestrade and I walked behind him, the detective indifferent and contemptuous, which I watched my friend with interest, which sprang from the conviction that every one of his actions was directed towards a defined end. The Boscombe Valley, which is a little reed-girt sheet of water some 50 yards across, is situated at the boundary between the Arderley farm and the private park of the wealthy Mr. Turner. About the woods which lined upon the farther side, we could see the red wooden pinnacles which marked the site of the rich landowners drivelling. On the otherly side of the pool, the roots grew very thick, and there was a narrow belt of sudden grass 20 paces across between the edge of the lake trace and the ridge which lined the lake. Lestrade showed us the exact spot at which the body had been found, and indeed so moist was the ground that I could plainly see the traces which had been left by the fall of the stricken man. To Holmes, as I could see by his eager face and peering eyes, very many other things were to be read upon the trampled grass. He ran round like a dog who was picking up a scent, and then turned upon my companion. "What did you go into the pool for?" he asked. "I fished about with the rake. I thought there might be some weapon or other trace, but how on earth?" "Oh, I've no time. Left foot of yours with its inward twist is all over the place, and no could trace it. vanished among the reeds. How simple it would all have been had I been here before they became like a herd of buffalo. And while all of it, here is where the party with the lodge keeper came, and they have covered all tracks for 6 or 8 feet around the body. But here are 3 separate tracks of the same fate. He drew out the lens and lay down upon waterproof to have a better view, talking all the time rather to himself than us. These are young McCarthy's feet. Twice he was walking, and once he ran swiftly, so that the soles are deeply marked and the heels hardly visible. That bears out his story. He ran when he saw his father on the ground. Then here are the father's feet as he paced up and down. What is this then? It is the butt end of the gun at the sun. We here now stood listening, and this, what was we were here, tiptoes, square, 2 quite unusual boats. They come, they go, they come again. Of course, that was for the cloak. Now, where did they come from? He ran up and down, sometimes losing, sometimes finding the track, until we were well within the edge of the woods and under the shadow of a great beech, the largest tree in the neighborhood. Holmes traced his way to the farther side of this and lay down once more upon his face with a cry of satisfaction. For a long time he remained there, turning over leaves and dried sticks, gathering up what seemed to me to be dust into an envelope, and examining with his lens not only but even the bark of the tree as far as he could reach. A jagged stone was lying among moss. This he also examined and retained. Then he followed a pathway through the wood until he came to the high road, where all traces were lost. It has been a case of considerable interest. He remarked, returning to his natural manner. He fancied that his grey house on the right must have been the lodge. Think that I will go in and have a word with Murron, and perhaps write a little note. impressed me in his favor, and you against him. One was the fact that his father should go accounting to his account crying to before seeing him. The other was his singular dying reference to a rat. He mumbled several words, you understand, but that was all that got the sincere. Now from this double point our research must commence, and we will begin it by presuming that what the lad says is absolutely true. What of this Cowie then? Well, obviously it could not have been meant for the sun. The sun, as far as he knew, was in Bristol. It was mere chance that he was within earshot. The Cowie was meant to attract the attention of whoever it was they had the appointment with. But Cowie is a distinctly Australian cry, and which is used between Australians. There is a strong presumption that the person whom McCarthy expected to meet at Boscombe was someone who had been in Australia. What of the rat then? Sherlock Holmes took a folded paper from his pocket and flattened it out on the table. This is a map of colony of Victoria, he said. I wired to Bristol for it last night. He put his hand over part of the map. What do you read? I read, and now he raised his hand. Ballarat, quite so. That was the word the man uttered, and of which his son only got the last two syllables. He was trying to utter the name of his murderer, so and so of Ballarat. It is wonderful, Harry exclaimed. It is obvious, and now you see I had narrowed the fields down considerably. The possession of a grey garment was the third point which, granting the son's statement to be correct. What a certainty we had come out of mere vagueness to the definite conception of an Australian from Ballarat with a grey cloak, certainly, and one who was at home in the district, for the pole can only be approached by the farm or by the estate, where strangers could hardly wander. Quite so. Then comes our expectations of today. By an examination of the ground, I gained the trifling details which I gave to the imbecile Lestrade as to the personality of the criminal. But how do you gain them? You know my method. It is founded upon the observation of trifles. His height, I know you may roughly judge from the length of his stride. His supposed you might be told from the traces. Yes, they were peculiar boots, but his lameness, the precision of his right foot was always less distinguished than his left. He put less weight upon it. Why? Because he was lame. But his left-handedness not been in his mouth. Therefore, he used a holder. The tip had been cut off, not bitten off, but the cut was not a clean one. So, I deduced a blunt penknife. Holmes, I said, you have thrown a net around this man from which he cannot escape, and you have saved an innocent human life. As truly as you have met God and God, which hanging him, I see the direction in which all this points. The culprit is Mr. John Turner, cried the hotel waiter, opening the door of our sitting room and ushering in a visitor. The man who entered was a strange and impressive figure. His slow, limping step and bowed shoulders gave the appearance of decrepitude, and yet his heart deeper lined craggy features and his enormous limbs showed that he was the possessed of unusual strength of body and of character. He drank the bed's grizzled hair and outstanding drooping eyebrows combined to give an air of dignity and power to his appearance. His face was of an ashen white, while his lips and the corner of his nostrils were tinged with a shade of blue. It was clear to me at a glance that he was in the grip of some deadly chronic disease. Pray sit down on the sofa, said Holmes gently. You had my note. Yes, the lodgekeeper brought it up. You said that you wished to see me here to avoid scandal. I thought people would talk if I went to the hall. And why do you wish to see me? He looked across at my companions with despair in his weary eyes. As I thought his question was already answered. Yes, said I, answering the look rather than the words. It is so I know all about my coughing. The old man sank his face into the hands. God help me, he cried, but I would not have the lad come to harm. I give you my word that I would have spoken out if it went against him. As is. I'm glad to hear you say so, said Holmes gravely. I would have spoken out now, had it not been for the mere dear girl. It would break her hearted. Well, we'll break her heart when she hears that I'm arrested. It may not come to that, said Holmes. What? It may. I am no official agent. I understand that it was your daughter who required my presence here, and I am acting in her interests. Young McGarvey must be got off. However, am I dying man, said Holden. I have had diabetes for years, and my doctor says it is a question whether I shall live a month. Yet I would rather die under my own roof than in a jail. Holmes rose and sat down at the table with his pen in his hand and a bundle of paper before him. Just tell us the truth, he said. I shall jot down the facts. You will sign it, and watch and hear can witness it. should wise to spare Alice the shock. And now I will make the thing clear to you. It has been a long time in the acting, but will not take me long to tell. You didn't know this man. You don't know this dead man. McCarthy, he was a devil incarnate. I tell you that. Good God keep you out of the clothes of such a man as he. His grip has been upon me these 20 years, and he has blasted my life. I'll tell you first I gave to his power. It was in the early 60s at the diggings. I was a young chap then, hot-blooded and reckless. I didn't turn my head at anything. I got among bad companies, took a drink, had no luck with my claim to look at the bush, and in a word became what you would call over here a highway robber. There were 6 of us, and we had reeled while free life of it, stinking up a station from time to time, or stopping their wagons on the road to the Dickens Blackjack of Ballarat was the name I went under, and our party still remembered in the colony as the Ballard Gang. I'll just see how much there is left of the story, because I think, oh god, we already hit the 45 minutes. Let me just take a quick look at how much of the story there's left. There's still a few minutes, but I think we'll take him. One day a call come down from Ballarat to Melbourne, and we lay in wait for it and attacked it. There were 6 troopers and 6 of us, so it was a close thing. But we emptied 4 of their saddles. The first 3 of our boys were killed. However, we'd got this way. Put my pistol to the head of the wagon driver, who was this very man McCarthy, wished to the Lord that promises he gave me without questioning. Land, money, houses, until at last he asked a thing which I could not give. He asked for Alice. His son, you see, had grown up, and so he had my girl, and as I was known to be in weak health, he seemed to find struck him that his lad should step into the whole property, but there was firm. I would not have his cursed stock mixed with mine. Not that I had any dislike to the lad, but his blood was in him, and that was enough. Stood firm, McAfee threatened. I braved to him to do his worst. We were to meet at the ball midway between our horses to talk it over. When we met down there, I found him talking with his son, so smoked a cigar and waited behind a tree until he should be alone. But as I listened to his talk, all that was black and bitter in me seemed come uppermost. He was urging his son to marry my daughter, with a little regard for what she might think, as if she were a slut. From off the streets he drove me mad to think that all that I held most dear should be in the power of such a man as this. Could I not snap the bond? I was already dying at this point, clear of mind and fairly strong of limp. I knew that my fate was sealed, but my memory and my girl both could be saved if I could but silence that full tongue. I did it, Mr. Holmes. I would do it again, deeply as I have sinned. I have led a life from martyrdom to at one void, but that my girl should be entangled in the same measure would help me was more than I could suffer. Struck him down with no more compunction than if I had been some foul and venomous beast. His scribe brought back his son, but he gained the cover of the wood, though was forced to go back to the fetch and cloak, which I had dropped in my flight. That is the true story, gentlemen. All of that occurred. Well, it is not for me to judge you, said Holmes, as the old man signed the statement which has been drawn out. I pray that we may never expose to such a temptation. I pray not, sir. What do you intend to do in view of your health? In view of your health, nothing. You are yourself aware that you will soon have to answer for your deed at a higher court than the Assize. I will keep your confession, and if McAfee is condemned, I shall be forced to use it. If not, it shall never be seen by mortal eye, and your secret, whether you be dead or alive, shall be safe with us. Farewell, then, said the old man solemnly. Your own deathbeds, when they come with the easier of the thought of the peace which you have given to mine, tottering and shaking in all the giant frame, he stumbled slowly from the room. God help us, said Holmes after a long silence. What does fate play such tricks with poor helpless worms? I never hear of such a case as dismissed on the strength of a number of objections which has been thrown out by Holmes and submitted to the defending counsel. Old Turner lived for 7 months after the interview, but he is now dead, and there is every prospect that the son and daughter may come to live happily together in ignorance of the black cloud which rests upon their past. So guys, that was the mystery of the Boscombe Valley. I hope that you enjoyed this. Honestly, I don't think you could call it a short story because it was really not short in any way. I don't know why it would be called a short story, but whatever, I suppose. Please leave a like and a comment if you want me to make more readings of stories, and maybe give me a suggestion of what I should read, because it is hard to find something